and the trade winds that blow, that flow through my soul, even when I am far from home. I speak in the cadence of my native land, in the rhythm of calypso rolling
Hey,
off steel
Danae.
pan. I speak in tones of passion to reflect my West Indian soul, rising, dipping, rolling like the paths in the hills where I used to roam. And I speak in terms as colorful as the rainbow, for I see in color, not judged by color. I see those hills impossibly green, trees rooted in the richest brown soil or hard packed dry clay, or standing straight up on the black rocky cliffs that stand watch over our sea. The breathless wonder of the Caribbean Sea, itself a blend of colors few are blessed to see. Cool, inviting blues or greens or blues, ever shifting, ever changing, smooth like Baron, pounding hard as Marshall, never predictable but predictably West Indian.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
see in red, that is the color of my family. In blood, my blood that makes me part of them and them of me, forever pumping to the tune of a sparrow melody. Not in white and black and brown and yellow. That's an American thing, baby. Through the years, we've been taught, as kids at home like to say, to yank,
To
as
yank.
in speak like a Yankee. Wash the color, the cadence from your voice so you can sound like them, be like them, be accepted by them.
Yeah. Hello, you guys. It's Denise Cooper, and this is Booktube Live on Art Books Live with me, Denise Cooper, and the whole host of other people that regularly join me. Yeah, I can speak real good and stuff. So anyway, we are celebrating and talking about the Caribbean or Caribbean. How do you say it? Tomato, tomato, Caribbean. Hmm. How do you spell it? With two R's or two B's? I don't know. I'm here. That's all. Anyway, no, seriously. How you guys doing? Yeah, poke yourself in the eye, Denise. But anyway, we were listening to the wonderful, beautiful Giselle Robinson, our friend and poet from St. Thomas, and obviously from the Caribbean. And she has passed away. We spoke about her. She was one of the poets that I wanted to talk about one day when I finally could. And I love her. She's one of my favorite poets. And she used to come through all the time and do poetry for me. And anytime I had an artful event, I would call her up, or AJ Houston, or Natasha Carrizosa, or my son, William Daughtry, who I told you guys all about. Those four poets who used to always come through, and now she is not here. So God bless us all and cherish every single day that you live, and let your light shine like she did. She's from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, and this is a CD, and I have one to give away. I didn't get a message the last time, so I'll say it again. I still have an extra one for someone who wants to actually have her in your home talking that beautiful cadence to you. And so we're going to talk about Caribbean authors, and I've got some, and I'm not pulling everything off my shelf. I was going around, I was like, oh, let me get the Edgewood Dandicat, let me get this, let me get that. No, I got a couple, and we're going to call it quits there. So guess what I did do? Because, sometimes you look at your books all the time, and I've shown you my books so many times throughout these years that you've been a part of this channel or have joined in and watched any videos or whatever, whether you're subscribed or not, or you just happen to find this place, my little tiny place here on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. But I went around, I start to look for books, and I was like, just go to the library because they've seen all your books, all thousands of them. They don't need to say those again. So I do have a couple of them that we'll talk about or just basically show. And I do want to read from a couple of the books that I picked up from the library. And the first time that Kay put that on the list as a topic to speak about here on Saturday on Booktube Live, Caribbean authors. Ding, ding, ding. The first two people actually came to my head is one, Edgewood Dandicat from Haiti, and also Claude McKay from Jamaica, man. And so I remember painting this, and this is just like a little copy that I made one time, and it has some of my favorite authors art and writers on it. And Edgewood Dandican. It's like a lady that's naked and she's tattooed with all of her favorite artists and writers. And Dandicat is on there. And I sold that painting, so that's basically all I got is that little piece of paper of a copy of my painting. And I absolutely adore her. And because I absolutely adored the young lady that I watched that got me so interested in talking about my love and passion for books, Miss Wonderful, love her channel, Dominique. And I sent her my signed copy of Crick Crack by Edgewood Dandicat. If you have not read that, read it. It's a really good read. And Claire by the Sea Light, I think it was another one of my favorites. And the one that she wrote about, oh, well, we'll talk about those books. We're actually just bringing them up online. And like I said, I'm not going to go around the house and pulling things. I only pulled a couple because Mr. Austin Clark was right behind me. And I was like, yeah, but I want to go to the library. I want to get that feel of getting something new without buying anything. That's what I want to do. Yeah. And then learn about some new Caribbean authors that I haven't heard of. So that's what I spent a lot of my time with today, is just picking up some people that I have not heard of. And so if I heard of them before, I didn't check them out. So I checked out one, of course, of Claude McKay's because truthfully, I think everybody has heard of that name, but some of the other books and authors that I found from the Caribbean, I had never heard of. So those are the ones I wanted to pull off the shelf. And maybe you have heard of them, and we'll just talk about those. And whether you watch this and they're recorded, or if you're joining live and you want to chat and you want to tell me your favorite Caribbean or Caribbean authors and writers. She's a writer. She's a poet. She's one of my favorites all time. Giselle Robinson. I can't say it enough. And she was a friend of mine, and I love her. And Claude McKay is in this big old huge book right now, Harlem Renaissance, 5 novels of the 1920s. So tonight I'm going to kind of talk about, obviously, the Caribbean authors, just listing some of the names of their books. I don't have every single last one of them, and that was like the beauty of it, is just to see what they've written, who they are, and are they still alive? And I just read about and found out about a Nobel Prize winning Caribbean author tonight when I'm, looking up this book. I, went to the library early this morning. I sat around trying to look through these books and trying to figure out, if I wanted to read something, what would I actually read? And there were 2 books that really caught my eye, and then 3 books that caught my eye. And then I was like, I'll just check them all out. They'll get over it. They love book hauls, whatever. So this is a library haul, just a little bit. And then also going to give, like I've been doing several times, is to give some recommendations for next year's The Blackout, where I read nothing but African American authors all year long. So I'm looking for people that I have not heard of, some that I have, and I just haven't read that part of their collection, their catalog. So I'm looking up those writers as well. And I'm also going to show you what I'm still currently reading. Still, I say, yeah, still. And 2 books that just kind of took off from those other ones that I'm still reading. So, and it happens that way. I mean, it happens for all of us. And then a book from Yamini's Book Club. If you have not joined, it's called Tells and Co. And I'm getting some sort of email or whatever. I ain't got my glasses on, so I'm going to ignore that little message. And if you are here and you are joining in live, hello Kia Danae, hello KT, hello Musical Toddy, hello Denise Rader, hello everyone, Erica, Terry, Karen, and all of you, Paul Bright, Dawn, Columbus Moore, Erica, Sharon, and Karen. There's a lot of Karens, and that's why I keep saying that. And then Ginger and Deirdre. So if you guys are watching, I'm going to put on my glasses a little bit, but I do want to talk about, first off, One of, actually, we'll just start here with Claude McKay, since he was the first person that came to my mind, other than Edgewood Dandicat. Not going to pull her books off my shelf. I think we all have a good grasp of who Miss Dandicat is, and I hope I'm saying her name right. I've been saying it like that for years, thinking I got an accent or something. Dandicat. Anyway, she's from Haiti, and I love her. And she was so young when she, and if you have the book correct, and her cover, and she just looks like this young innocent little girl, and she is, but I'm just saying she started so young and so wise, and when I read her books I'm like taken to another place. It's like transformative, like, and beautiful, and very haunting sometimes. I just love her writing, and she's one of those people that I would either just, as soon as she come out with a book, I would go buy it or go check it out at the library and read it. And much like, the Alice Walker books, where I would hurry up and get them and read them and then go, okay, then just start reading everybody else. And then when her name comes up again, I'm like, well, I've already read most of them. So I still want to venture into the newer books by Miss Edgewood Danticat that I haven't read. And so maybe I'll pull up a list of her books tonight. But like I said, she's somebody that we've all heard of. And if you have not read her and you have heard of her, I would suggest you read her. And one of my favorites is Crick Crack. And I got to look up that one. It's about her brother or something. I just remember certain parts in that book, and it was about the brother. Oh my goodness. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is the Harlem Renaissance, 5 novels of the 1920s. And so there are some obvious writers in here that would be perfect for next year's The Blackout. However, tonight is about the Caribbean author in here, and that is Mr. Claude McKay. And when we take a look at who he actually is, and, if you want to know if he's, what type of style of writing he was. You can, of course, look it up on Wikipedia, just like I did. But I want to say hi to everybody. Hi, KT. Hi, Kia Danae. Hi, hi, Angela. How are you? And she says, hey, Miss Denise, love and miss hearing Miss Giselle's work. Yes, definitely. Hi, Angela. Miss Purple Lady. Yes, I miss hearing her. I just miss like talking to her, like, and you guys have to excuse us for a while. We're talking about Miss Giselle here, Miss Giselle Robinson. And if you've ever noticed, I always, well, there's this little vase that I have that she gave me on one of our, actually, it was our last conversation before she passed away. I went over to her house and we just like talked for like 6 hours, sitting on the floor, and she was doing poetry and showing me. It's just, I love her. It's just, you're in the house of a poet when they say, let me do this one poem for you. Let me do this poem for you. Let me put this past you, whatever. And she just does this poetry, and she's like, how is that? I'm like, how is that? It's like brilliant. But yeah, miss hearing her, miss seeing her, miss her hugs. She's this little tiny woman, and her hugs were, Angela, her hugs were like she was 10 feet tall, and just, it was awesome. And it was just nice to know her and be around her, and given a nickname by her, and just hear your name and her voice, her cadence, and I loved it. And so she's why I brought up her, the first person, because she's never, I mean, when you leave that type of work behind, you're always going to be missed, you're always going to be thought about, and always going to be loved. So rest in peace, and in poetry. All right, so Mr. Claude McKay, and again, this is out of this big old huge book that I got from the library. I'm gonna put my glasses on, and these braids are getting in the way. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but anyway, Home to Harlem is the selection that's in this particular book for him. And I was reading through it, and there's all these like crazy characters, like oh my gosh, just some names in here. And I start reading some of it, I'm like, ooh, I can't read this out loud. It gets a little raunchy, and it gets a little fun, and there's a lot of dialogue. And so when I'm reading here on video, dialogue is the last thing I want to read. I can do characters, but I'm not, my own, not theirs. But there's all these crazy names in here, and it's just, and it's like, I don't know, just so cute. and there was a lady called Strawberry something and Prince something, and oh goodness, I should have just, oh, there's a lot of words up in here that you might not want me to read. So anyway, Madam Laura is in here. Madam Laura. Okay, you see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? But anyway, and I really like to, I'm always loving to read the contents of a book, like what the name of the chapters are. So in this book, again, it's called Home to Harlem by Claude McKay. Going Back Home is the first part. Arrival, Zeddy, Congo Rose, On the Job Again, Myrtle Avenue, Zeddy's Rise and Fall, The Raid of the Baltimore, Jake Makes a Move, The Railroads, Snowstorm in Pittsburgh, The Treeing of the Chef, One Night in Philly, an interlude, Relapse, A Practical Prank. He also loved A Farewell Feed, Spring in Harlem, Felice, The Gift That Billy Gave, and it's only this long in this particular book. So I thought that was interesting. So since I checked it out, I'll read this Claude McKay. So with all these wonderful suggestions from KT and all these recommendations for nonfiction November, and even before November started, you guys know I was reading some nonfiction. I did finish the Jimmy Carter book. Yes, I would highly recommend it. But we ain't talking about Jimmy Carter tonight. And I did take it back, but I did want to talk about it maybe Sunday, tomorrow. So this is Claude McKay's book. If you have a library card, like most of us do, and if you don't, I mean, exercise that thing. There was somebody that commented on Instagram, and I think it's a lady or a guy, and they said that they haven't been to the library in 6 years. It was from a post that I posted a picture of, this is what my stairway to heaven would look like, and it was just that long aisle in the library. And I remember going to check out his books, and of course, books on the Harlem Renaissance. And there's two, and I actually picked up both of them because there's, again, a lot of good suggestions for the blackout next year for all African American books by writers here in the United States. So I picked up this one because of Claude McKay, and we'll talk about that book again. But I want to say hi to the sixth person who's joined, Freckled Bibliophile. Hi, she says. Hi, how are you? Yes, Angela. So I haven't missed. Okay, there we go. You're very welcome, Kay. She says, thank you. I think you're thanking me. Anyway, she says, thank you. But thank you. I appreciate it because, I mean, I'm telling you, like, I was supposed to read just these 4 books for the fourth quarter of this year. But, I mean, there are so many good books out there. And so before we continue on with the Caribbean people that I picked up from the library, and if you have any favorites, please let me know what your favorite Edgewood Dandicott book is. If you've read Claude McKay, I'm talking about Claude McKay. And before I show you what I'm currently reading, Claude McKay's books, he's got a lot of them. And one of them, Home to Harlem, which is the one I just showed you guys, which is inside of a book, but it is a standalone book. And he also has Banana Bottom, which I think most people have heard of, Banana Bottom. So they didn't have that at the library. They only had this one where he's inside of a book. And so you have to order them. They're from all over the place. I mean, we have loads of city libraries here in Fort Worth, Texas. So when I pulled up all these books that I was getting and all these different artists, I mean, you can just go on your phone and say, give me a list of Caribbean writers. And so that's what I was doing. And I just didn't check out anybody that I already knew except for Mr. McKay. And so the other one, basically, I think I only have one. And I think I pulled the other one off my shelf because I already know about him. But the one that I have, 2 of her books, and she's got like maybe 3 books in that was sitting there in the library, but I didn't want to be greedy. I was like, what if somebody else is looking for one of her books? So I'm just going to leave it there. And I didn't get any Edgewood. Like I said, I wanted to learn about somebody that I didn't know. Half of the people that I pulled up on my own list were not in the library. So it would have, I would have had to order them. And so I'm going to mark a lot of them on Goodreads so that I can remember. But for Claude McKay, if you don't know, Claude McKay is Festus Claudius Claude McKay. And he was born in Jamaica. He was a writer and a poet, and most people know that he was a poet first and then, of course, became a writer. Or it could be, but I knew him as a poet first before I knew that he had all these books. And then the next book that I heard of was Banana Bottom. So stop. I'm getting tweet messages. I'm sorry, and it's on my laptop. I don't know how to turn that off other than to just exit out. But he was born in Jamaica in Clarendon Parish in 1889, you guys. May 22nd, 1948, he died in Chicago, Illinois. So a lot of us know that he was, it says nationality, American and Jamaican. So when you talk about the Caribbean, I'm telling you, that's the first name that came up for me. Okay, and Miss Dandacat, like I said. Then there's a man that I wanted to mention who I didn't, you look at his name and you know him. It's one of those things, but I didn't know that he just recently passed away this year. And I'm put my glasses back on, girl, because you know you can't see without them. You just really know you can't. Somebody tell me to start taking them off. Anyway, rest in peace, it says, to Derek Walcott. He was on my list, right? Not a book in the library. I would have to order it again. There were several libraries that did have it checked in, certain books checked in, but most no. So Derek Walcott, he was a St. Lucian poet, playwright, and Nobel laureate. Okay, and he died at 87 years old here, and this year, basically in March. So I did find that out about him today, and the fact that he was a Nobel laureate, I mean, like that's one of the highest honors, or is the highest honor for literature. And then they've got a nice, story about him on the website that I'm looking at. Is called the Cultural Strip. I hate saying that word, and I'm knocking stuff around down here, but it's called the Culture Trip. You know the word, the Culture Trip, and they're talking about 6 amazing Caribbean authors that you want to get to know, and he's on that list. Of course, the first one up is Miss Doncat, and so you'll learn a little bit about her. It just has a little bit small articles about these 6 writers from the Caribbean canon that you should know about. And of course, another one that I found on this list that has a lot of books, and he's on Goodreads. So everybody usually that comes here to this channel and is a part of Booktube in any capacity knows about Goodreads. This man, I have never heard of him. His name is George Laming, Lamming. Not a one book in my library, so I had to resort to just pulling it up on Goodreads and talking about it. One of the books that I really wanted was called In the Castle of My Skin. And he has several on here. The Pleasure of Exile, The Immigrants, Natives of My Person, Water with Berries, Season of Adventure, Sovereignty and the Imagination, Conversations 3 of Age and Innocence, his book, not the one that you might be thinking about, and A Wedding in Spring, Cannon Shot in Glass Beads, Modern Black Writing. So he has all these books that are listed on Goodreads, and he is from the Caribbean island of Barbados. So I also had a list here, basically when I was thinking about them. But again, like I said, if you want to check out these books and they're readily available at your library, fine. Let me know which ones you can find, because I have, again, there's loads of libraries where it says checked in. They're coming from all over the place. So I put a little list together, and I'm going to check some out. But the first things first, the ones I checked out, I'm going to read some of these and truly, truly enjoy them. Because one of them, yeah, I'm telling you, the TBRs are just not good. Sometimes they are, sometimes they are not. It just depends on what mood you're in. And when you have a good topic like this, you kind of want to just read something from that list. And it's a woman. So I'm finding all these males. So we talked about Angela Dandacat. She's a woman, of course. Claude McKay. And of course, we all know. And this is one from my shelf. Austin Clarke. The Polished Wood. Dee Dee and a group of people did a buddy read on Austin Clarke's The Polished Hoe. And yes, for me, this was a cover by. This was a cover by, and of course his name is so famous that I was like, okay, this beautiful cover and Austin Clarke. And I bought this, I think, I had this on my shelf in the living room when I had my shelves all color coordinated. And so it was sitting up there with the books that all had beautiful black spines and this delicious, beautiful photo. And hopefully you guys can see it and there's not a lot of glare because, you know, I ain't got my glasses on and I got to see what y'all seeing. There you go. So you guys have definitely know about this man. So this is not, I haven't read this book. I did not join the buddy read because I was reading something else. I think that was during the time, no, I don't know what I was reading, but I remember reading something else, and I'm not good at buddy reads when I've got 2 or 3, 4 books going on at the same time. But he is a professor of literature and has taught at Yale, Brandeis, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Williams, Duke, and the Universities of Texas and Indiana. He assisted in setting up a Black Studies program at Yale in 1968. I was 3 years old, okay? After which he became the cultural attaché of the Embassy of Barbados in Washington, D.C. He lives in Toronto, Canada, at the time of this particular book and that About Me page on the back. There's a dust bunny. Anyway, probably from the book. I don't tell it. And it's decollete and it's beautiful. And I just love this book. And it's almost just too beautiful to read. Nah. It's the winner of the Giller Prize. So if you have not heard of this book or Mr. Austin Clarke, please check him out. He is one of, and I'm putting this on this pile because that's my book. It's not going to go back to the library. And let me see what you guys are saying. Who's your favorites? Who's your favorites? And what is your favorite Caribbean book? I told you one of mine, which is Crick Crack, and Marlon James, the Book of Night Women. How many times am I going to say that? Because next month is December, and you know everybody in Booktube is going to do their favorite books of the year. So if something kicks that one off, I'd be surprised. I'd be hella surprised, including the book that I'm reading by him, that I had to go and get the audio because, yeah. Yeah. You guys, I'm telling you, that book is something else. But anyway, I don't think it's going to outdo the Book of Night Women for me. I don't care if it won a Booker Prize. Hi, 7 people. This is Denise Cooper, Art Books Live, and Booktube Live chat room. Hello, 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 hello. Hi. And she said, okay, KT says, I have never heard of Claude. I read Edgewood years ago. Breath, Eyes, and Memory. I read that one too. I love her books. I love the style. And she also said she tried to read The Polished Hoe, but she couldn't get into it. Now, when I was listening to Dee Dee and them talk about the buddy read and how it was kind of written kind of backwards and you didn't know something until the end, I was like, oh man, that sounds so interesting. So I don't know. I missed out on that buddy read, but then so I don't know if you couldn't get into it. I wonder if it was because of the style of writing and that forward backward thing that they were talking about. I don't know because I didn't read it yet. It's just such a beautiful cover that I bought it, and of course by name, of course too. So Freckled Bibliophile says, you really have me wanting to read the Book of Night Women. I'm telling you, it's hi Dawn, how are you? It is a beautiful cover, and the Book of Night Women, yeah, I should have got it out, but I have 3 because from what I know, Marlon James only has 3 books, and I own all 3 of them now because the Book of Night Women was the first one I bought, and then Brief History of Stabbing and Killings, which I'm on page 470 something darn pages, and went and got the audio CD so I can, you know, do my art and listen to him, since I'm listening to a lot of audio books right now, and I just don't have the time to open him and read him. And that's a lie because I went back to a book that I'm reading, and that's La Bâtarde, which is, you know, one of my current reads, and I'm loving it. And I think I just kind of, sometimes you just need a break from a book, but you're not DNFing it. It's not like it's not a really good, brilliant book. It's just so much, and I don't, you know, like, yeah, you know how it goes. So, but yeah, I think you would enjoy it. It's a slave tale in Jamaica. And when I was in Jamaica, we were in Sam Sharp Square, where they got this the beautiful statues of the slave revolt, and they're all like, with these poses of throwing things. And so that book was even extra special because I've been there. And so what these women are planning to do, and then there's a kind of a love thing going on that's like, oh my gosh, like it's just so good. It's just so good. It's really one of it's probably going to be my favorite book of 2017. I just don't see anything else, and I've read some really good books this year. Trevor Noah was amazing, and South African, so he's not Caribbean, and then of course there was two. Wow, there's two comedians that I read this year that are probably going to be on my top 5, and that's the other one is W. Kamau Bell. So back to the Caribbean writers. um, and I also have John Crow's Devil is what he has. That was actually his first book. I'm talking about Marlon James. So John Crow's Devil, Book of Night Women, and The Brief History of 7 Killings. The cursing, Miss Bibliophile. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that to you. I wouldn't recommend that to you. But that's on you. That's on you. It says I'm live, and it says that stream health is like yellow, so I don't know if it's just pausing or what have you. But just let me know if we are, because it went from green to yellow like it did last week. So I'm not sure if I'm still here or not. Anywho, she says, Kia Danae says, Gloria, Carrie Young. I haven't read much from Caribbean authors. Okay, so Gloria. Who is Gloria? I'm sorry, my bad. Is Gloria the name of the book by Carrie Young? Is that how I'm supposed to be reading that? I'm going to look it up. No, but seriously, I don't know. You guys let me know if you can see me, because again, it's yellow instead of green. I don't have the green light. Green light. But it says I'm still there. I don't know. But I'm going to look this up while you guys let me know, because this is how we do on Booktube Live. If you were just joining in, this is only going to be 1 hour tonight. We're only doing 1 hour. Only. And so if something cuts off, it just cuts off. Because we're only doing an hour. And let me look it up before I go back to you. Gloria by Terry Young.
According to Google Books, Jamaica, 1938.
Yes.
Gloria Campbell is 16 years old when a single violent act changes her life forever.
Thank you, Kia Danae. Thank you. Oh, and the cover is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Y'all hurry up and go look up Gloria. No, serious. Gloria by Carrie Young. It's this, and you're not going to see it on my cracked behind phone. You're just not. It's just bad. No. But, I'll try. But anyway, see, I told you, it's not going to see. Oh, there you go. Gloria by Carrie Young. And this is from Kia Danae's suggestion. Oh, I'm going to get this. Now, see, this is one of those covers that, yeah. Yes. Thank you, Kia Danae. Yeah, I'm going to have to get that. That's sad. I don't need any more books. You know what? I need to just cut this off right now and stop doing Booktube Live. I need to just cancel my channel and just see y'all in about 10 years when I finish these books, because this don't make no sense. Wow. 2013 copywritten, all rights. Okay, so anyway, a people is not independent once it has shaken off the change of its masters. It begins to be once it has extra. Okay, my phone is bad. From its being, the voices of vanquished slavery, and for homeland and to life anew. Rises up and gives from form to concepts of life radically opposed to the customs of past servility, to the memories of weakness and adultation. Adulation. I'm sorry. You see, I can't even read. The despotic rule uses as elements of domination over the enslaved people. So says Jose Marti. And this is right at the beginning of the book called Gloria. See, excuse me for the interruption. Thanks, Kia Danae. Okay, and this is going page after page. Okay, wow. I'm in Google Books. That's probably why. And then it says get books. Oh my goodness. The first line, I grab a piece of wood and I hit him. Okay, thank you. So, anybody else? So, anybody else? Oh my gosh. Thanks, Kia. And let me go back to you guys and see what you're saying. And if you, she said, just added Gloria on Goodreads, says KT. The cover looks like G. Parks. Yes, it does look like a Gordon Parks piece. Oh my goodness. Thank you. That's a good one. Now, let me mark this on my Goodreads because you know I'm on Goodreads right now, Mr. George Laming. And it's George Laming's name is spelled Lamming. So if you're on Goodreads and you want to look him up, he is from Barbados, born June 8th, 1927. Ah, I love it when the writing is old school, and I just love the title of his books too. Okay, let me stop looking at his books because I've already read those. So let me look up Gloria and mark that on my Goodreads. Don't everybody hit it at one time and then let me stop. We can bring Goodreads down tonight, like there's that many on live. I can't. Hold on just a minute. Hold on, y'all. I'm serious. I'm getting ready to. I might have to purchase this book. It's so beautiful. Dang, that's pretty. Anywho, so the website that I'm on again is the cultural trip. Cultural trip. You know, doing it for your culture. Still can't say it. Anyway, the Nobel Peace Prize winning author, poet, and then it just goes on. And then the article on him, oh, when you bring that up, it's a beautiful, beautiful picture of him. Anyway, so I have 3 artists from that list that I really looked up and want to read about. And I've already talked about those. So the next one, oh, and another one that I wrote down from my list is from Trinidad also, Earl Lovelace. Have you ever heard of him? Earl Lovelace, if you look him up, of course, you'll see him on Wikipedia and all that good stuff. However, not at my library. I have to order it. And so I think I'm going to possibly maybe check out thriftbooks.com because I'm running out of 2017. I'm running out of the year. And I don't have, I mean, I've got 64 books that I plan to read this year, and I'm 11 behind. But from what I'm reading now, I'll be caught up this month. Yeah, because I've got some books that I'm so halfway done with, and CDs, audio books that I'm listening to, since we're talking about my list. And we spoke about Yamini and her book club. The unit. I don't have that beautiful unit that they have. It's like a turquoise and it says the unit on the cover. If you are a part of her Tells and Co. on Goodreads, and of course she mentions it on her YouTube channel, The Skeptical Rita. And I am telling you, that young lady is just smart and wise. But she says, looking up Gloria. Yes, 10 people watching. How are you, you guys? Talking about the unit. I got this from the library. I actually had to put it on hold because it wasn't at the library. It came from the downtown library, which I used to always frequent because that's where I work. But since the library is like right around the corner from me, another one, that's the one I go to now. So I got this one pretty quick, but I kind of ordered it late. Actually, not really, because they start reading this November the 1st. So today's November the 11th, and I think it's Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to my ex. Okay. Whatever. So anyway, The Unit by Nini Holmqvist. That's a hard name to say because it's Holmqvist. So this is actually, I'm going to be reading this month with Yamini and the whole group over on her book club called Tells and Co. on Goodreads. So when I start reading this, I start getting real paranoid. I'm thinking, wow, this is an old school book, but you know, it's always right now, that Big Brother type of thing. She's in the bathroom. There's cameras in the, you know, visible cameras in a room that she's in. It's like they're not even trying to hide the fact. I mean, this is just the first part of the pages, so I'm not really spoiling it for you. It's not like I'm telling you the whole story because I haven't read it. I just read some of it today. And just seriously, the first part of the book makes me paranoid and makes me just like turn pages. And I was like, I gotta stop. I'm in the midst of too many books. So, but this one I have to finish this month because I really want to. But I wanted to, I read all that. I read all that. I read all that. I think I'm on 2. So I only read up to chapter 2. Okay. But I started reading this already, and it made me a little paranoid, and it made me turn the pages, and I will be finished with this month. Thank you, Yamini. I read some reviews on Goodreads. It's almost like, 5-star to 1-star to 2-star to 3-star to 5-star. I mean, it's just all over the place with, you just have to be in the mood for certain things. And I'm in the mood for this, especially the way it began, because it got me to chapter 2 and just in the library. I read this first chapter in the library and I loved it. So that's the unit and my current read. As you guys know that I'm listening to The Black Count. Let me see. Let me see if y'all can see. I'm so serious. I'm going to take a drink of water because I'm obviously choking. Yeah, I have to drink this whole thing. Yeah, still on the meds. Anyway, reading The Black Count, and I'm on disc 7. And I always pull them out and, keep them like this. So this is disc 7. And I love the fact that the cover is on every CD. That's just beautiful. So that says Fort Worth Library, whatever. Anyway, I'm on disc number 7, and I was like, it's talking about wars, and he's talking about his father, the Black Count's father, a lot, and it's just really good. There's a lot of information in this audiobook. And I've practically listened to every single CD twice. So about the time I'm finished with this, I would have read it twice. This is The Black Count by Tom Rice, and I showed you guys. So this is a current read, just to keep you guys up to date with where I am. Because like I told you guys, I'm not going to be doing wrap-ups, and everything's going to be done live. And so it's just a little bit different. And I started this today. You guys, I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning because on Friday nights, okay, I was doing some art and I'm almost finished with my art project for someone and I'll be sending that out. And so I'm listening to The Black Count and then I put that on hold because I was like, oh, that's what it was. It was one of the wars and some, because it's, a true story. So I kind of wanted to look up this war and this time, this era, and get other books. Like I always do, you get one book and you go off on a tangent on all the other recommendations that it may, take you to. So anyway, so I was like, let me put this aside because I want to be able to sit and write. And I was up here painting, so I couldn't do it. So I took it out and I just wanted to listen to a nonfiction or a fiction book. And this is so good. And it's narrated so well. Oh my God. This is The Fisherman and it's by Chigozie Obioma. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And it's read by, can't even pronounce this at all, Chukwudi Iwuji. Yeah. And it's 10 hours, I think. Yeah, 10 hours on 8 compact discs. And you guys, the disc is in there and I am on, so this is 7, so I'm on disc 6. Ugh. So disc 6 is in there. And I think I've already listened to disc 6. This is good. This is, yeah, I'm so glad I got that book. And that was a recommendation or it was on a picture on Instagram. So you guys know how we love Instagram book pictures. And that, I can't think of her name right now. And if you're in the chat room, you know who you are. I'm sorry. But oh my goodness. And I'm always looking at the shelves. Like, when you take a picture of the book and then the shelves are behind you, I'm like, oh, I want that book. I ain't got that one. Oh, I got that one, that one. I read that, but I want that one. And that's what I was doing to her shelf. I was shopping her shelves. I told her that and she said she had shopped my shelf too. But God, hold on. This is getting on my nerves. This is just getting on my nerves. I don't know how long this is gonna last. I'm gonna need my afro back like tomorrow. Anyway, thank you. So, and the beautiful La Bâtarde. We're just taking a little intermission from the Caribbean books, and I'm going to be reading from, yeah, we got a little bit of time. So I'm going to be reading from a lady that I found. Thank you, Kay, for this subject again, because I really enjoyed finding these people that I have not heard of. So anyway, I'm reading La Bâtarde. If you've never heard of her, she is French. She is Violet Leduc. And the book is beautiful. Oh my God. This was a time when women could it was a hard time getting published. And the foreword is by one of the most famous writers of that time, Simone Beauvoir, however you say her name, de Beauvoir, and I love that book, and that's definitely on my top 3. So my top 10 is pretty much rounding up, and we've got just November, and you've seen The Fisherman. I think that's going to be one of them too. But my top 10 for this month, and I mean for this year, is just like rapid. Like sometimes you have years where you go, oh, this one or that one, or maybe you get 5, and the other ones, okay, they were good, I liked them, but I wouldn't say my favorite. But this year, this year is like so easy. And if you look at my Goodreads, and of course, I started with J. California Cooper, and then of course, Invisible Man. I mean, y'all, okay, so I had a really good reading year. Not that, last year was awesome too, but I'm just saying it was just so easy to just start. Oh my gosh, it's going to be harder to narrow it down to 10, is what I should have said instead of rambling on. I heard you. But, I didn't at the same time. I'm just saying. I kind of felt whatever. So, anyway, why am I looking at my phone? Because I'm checking the time, because I'm serious. We get off of here at 10 o'clock, and it's 9:45, and I've got 15 minutes. So, I want to talk about this. Oh, and this was a gift from Dee Dee, and she's Jamaican. Of course, she's living in New York. And, of course, everybody and their mama and daddy and little sisters and cousins and babies got this book. And this was a gift from Dee Dee all the way from Paris or France. And I love the cover. And I have not opened this book up. And this is a lie. This is not from Dee Dee. This is from Deirdre. Thank you so much for correcting me. Dee Dee gave me Homecoming. And Deirdre gave me this book. So I have 2 beautiful books that I have not read. And they're gifts. And why? It's almost like the Austin Clarke book. It's so beautiful. And I haven't read it yet. I just keep looking at the covers going, wow, this is beautiful. Oh my God, this is great. And if you have not listened to Deirdre, who is Some Says So, and she talks about mainly coffee table books. However, she read this book, and she was talking about how the ending she didn't like so much, but then she like double backs and she starts talking about the story. She is so hyped, and she is so into this book. I was like, I gotta have this book, and I'm like getting ready to shop for this book. And then it's in the mail, and she's gifted me with this book, along with a beautiful James Baldwin bookmark. So I just think I can't wait to read this. And why am I holding on to it and haven't? I don't know. You know how it is. We just keep pushing and pulling books off in front of each other. So I would say Caribbean because she's from Jamaica, and she is American. But so was Claude McKay, Jamaican and American, right? I think it goes. And this is one I won't be reading next year because she is from Jamaica. However, she's American now, so is she African American? Should I read her next year? Or should I read her this year? And hurry up and get it in there. I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. Anyway, the one that I'm so grateful, and that's mine, so I'm going to put my books over there and not in the library, pal. This young lady, Elizabeth Nunez, Evening in Paradise, right? And this is the one that had 3 books on the shelf, and I was like, it's on my list, and she's there in the library, not checked out. They're checked in. That means I can have them. There was 3, but I only got 2 because I didn't want to be too greedy. But obviously, I was greedy enough to get 2 of them and just leave somebody with 1. Anyway, Elizabeth Nunez, Grace. So if you've heard of her, you guys let me know. I can't wait to read this. So I started it already. And I haven't read from this one yet, but I picked out 2 of them. And the third one that I left there was a smaller little book. And it seemed so interesting. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I found her. So if it wasn't for this topic, I would not have found her so readily, available in my library. I would have not. And it was in the African American section. And when you look at her, she looks Spanish. She is the award-winning author of 9 novels and a memoir. Both Boundaries and Anna in Between were New York Times Editor's Choice Awards. Anna in Between won the 2010 Penn Oakland Josephine Miles Award. That's a long name. And a whole bunch of other host of books. So she is from Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, she's on my list, I think. Make sure. Yes, Elizabeth Nunez from Trinidad. Thanks, Kay. So this one is Grace, and this has a lot of blurbs on it, and the one right here in front is from Edgewood Danticat. It says, extremely deserving of its title, Grace. This gorgeous meditative book is a graceful rendering of one couple's journeys and explorations toward and away from each other. A moving love story. It shows us how a deferred dream can erode a marriage and how grace can sometimes put us to the test, even as it redeems. I love that. And I love that. So chapter 1, I was going to read from this. But anyway, I want to first of all check in with you guys. And this, again, is the cover of the book. And this is the author, if you can see. Elizabeth Nunez. And again, Evening in Paradise is the second book that I picked up from her. I can't say first or second. I checked them out today at the same time. And she's got a list of all her books in here as well. I think it was in the other one that I looked at, just to make sure. She's got acknowledgement. She's got King Lear. Oh, I did read a little bit. No, I just read the synopsis. That's what I read, because they're talking about King Lear in here. So I'm going to check on you guys and see how you guys are doing, because we ain't got all night. Anyway, so hi, 9 people of you. We've got 10 minutes. You want to say hi to everybody? And you want to go subscribe to all the booktubers in the chat room? KT has a channel. Liking books. How are you? I know, right? I'm eager to see what authors she mentioned. And let me see. I love Here Comes the Sun. Read it this year. It says KT. Awesome. And Lisa. Okay, I'm sorry. A little late and sad I've missed so much of this because I'm all for reading Caribbean authors. Well, let's do a little wrap up, because that way, because I like to do that and I haven't done it, and we've got like 9 minutes. So for Lisa and for anyone else who has just joined a little bit, hello everybody. Hello Columbus Moore and Paul Bright and Nicole, who's going to be joining us later. She always watches after the show because she's at work and she watches and comments on the recording. So if you guys have missed something, definitely know that this is recorded and it stays a part of my videos. This is how I'm doing Booktube. I am doing Booktube Live, and yes, I have been and will continue to, like the little vlog I did for going to the Austin Book Festival. So I uploaded that video and I enjoyed it. So I wasn't here last Saturday for that reason, but I still gave you a video. Still gave you some of my time, and it's precious. But anyway, so what we have talked about, and I'll pull out my little notes here, Lisa. We're talking about the Caribbean authors, and this is one of Kay's. This is the third one, the last one of the first 3 that she gave us, and then we've got more, and I've got those pulled up, and I want to make sure that I read those so you guys know what's upcoming for the next Saturday's shows. We already got them. She's cleared us. We're good. She is our creative director. She's coming up with all these wonderful topics, and I'll be reading off that list. So when she mentioned the Caribbean authors, I thought, of course, of one of my favorites, Edgewood Danticat, and my favorite Edgewood Danticat is Crick Crack. And I gave that book to Dominique, who was like the first booktuber that I just fell in love with, and start talking about my books, because I was uploading video. I've had this channel for almost 8 years, okay? And thanks to all the new subscribers, because it takes me obviously a very long time to get. I'm not even 1,000. I'm that underbelly that Adam talks about on his channel. So welcome to my world. Anyway, so Claude McKay and Edgewood Danticat were the first 2. And then, of course, I'm still reading Jamaican Marlon James. And we talked about Nicole. And so those are the first 2 that came up, was Claude McKay. And I showed the book from the Harlem Renaissance. And so I'm going to show you that real quick. Oh, and then we still got all these books over here from my library haul. Yeah, so this is going to go real quick. So the Harlem Renaissance is a book that I showed us, 5 novels in the 1920s. And the Caribbean author in here is Mr. Claude McKay. And the book that he has in this collection is Home to Harlem. And this is how short it is. Lisa. There it is. Oh, did you hear my stomach growl? I can't eat. My doctor said don't eat. I'm like starving. He told me to drink nothing but clear liquids and wine. No, I didn't have any wine today. But yesterday? No, anyway. So this is the home, I'm sorry, what's it called again? Home to Harlem, and the Harlem Renaissance book that I will be reading. And if you want to know the other writers in here real quick, let me go on here. Jean Toomer, I'm sorry. There's a lot. Where's the list? There should be a list. There should be a list. It should just be easy. Okay, there we go. So Kane is in here by Jean Toomer. Home to Harlem, Claude McKay. Quicksand by Nella Larson. Plum Bun by Jessie Redmond Fawcett. The Blacker the Belly. Berry. Did I say belly? Yes, I did. It's probably because my belly, just growled. Anyway, The Blacker the Berry by Wallace Thurman, which I love to hate that book. I love that book. That book is awesome, and it's so right now and so back then, and it was awesome. And Introverted, the young lady I talked about with that book, I loved her review on that book, and that book had been sitting on my shelf for years, and I have a very old copy of it, and I gave it to my daughter-in-law and my son to read, and every time I go over to their home, that book is on their fireplace. Yeah, so that's the home that I go to, and I steal my books off of their mantle. And I take them home. I just recently captured Miss Jane Pittman and Untamed State by Roxane Gay. Yeah, and because they're not reading them, I can tell. But I couldn't find my Richard Wright book, so yeah. Anyway, and I think that was it. No. Yeah, that's it. So that's it in this particular book. And what else did I go over? We talked about Claude McKay, Edgewood Dundercut, Austin Clarke, The Beautiful Book. And you may have already heard of this, Nicole, or seen it, or read it, and all that good stuff. But look at that. If you have not, there's that beautiful cover again. It is just beautiful. I just totally love it. And let me see what you guys are seeing, because you know how it is. There we go. There's that again. Buddy Reed. A lot of people on Booktube read that book along with Dee Dee from Brown Girl Reading, and they enjoyed it. I enjoyed their talk. KT started it. Maybe me and KT will read it together and get it finished. And then we also talked about, I didn't pull up Colin Channer, but we know who he is, and he's from Jamaica. And if you do not, it's Colin Channer, Channer. And then Elizabeth Nunez, the two books that I just showed you. And I do want to read the synopsis on that. And then, of course, we started with one of my favorite all-time poets, a friend of mine, rest in peace, Miss Giselle Robinson. And so we talked about her, and we listened to her coming into the show. So that is a small wrap up. And there's some other books down there from what I'm currently reading. But so we were at Evelyn Nunez, and I don't want to cut you off, and there we go. Trying to make sure that I don't hit the wire like I did last time. That's what happened. So anyway, Evelyn Nunez and Grace and Even in Paradise is what it's called. Did I say an Evening in Paradise? I have no idea. But anyway, I'm going to read the synopsis. So reading Richard Wright now, laugh out loud, 464 pages in love. Oh my goodness. Which Richard Wright? Are you reading Black Boy? Which one? Oh my gosh. Richard Wright is, yeah. So while I'm fawning over the fact that she's reading Richard Wright, oh my gosh, yeah. I'm going to read the synopsis because I read this earlier, and I thought you guys, if you are interested in this topic and the books that we've talked about by the Caribbean authors, and is it Caribbean or Caribbean? Caribbean Queen or Caribbean Queen. Remember that song? Anyway, this is Even in Paradise. Peter Ducksworth, a Trinidadian widower of English ancestry, retires to Barbados, believing he will find an earthly paradise there. He decides to divide his land among his 3 daughters while he is alive. His intention not unlike that of King Lear, who hoped that the future strife may be prevented now, in quotes, but Lear made the fatal mistake of confusing flattery with love, and so does Duckworth. Feeling snubbed by his youngest daughter, Ducksworth decides that only after he dies will she receive her portion of the land. In the meantime, he gives his 2 older daughters their portions, ironically setting in motion the very strife he hoped to prevent. Beautifully written in elegant prose, this is a novel about greed, resentment, jealousy, betrayal, and romantic love in the post-colonial world of the Caribbean, giving us a diverse cast of characters of African, Indian, Chinese, Syrian, Lebanese, and English ancestry. Must read. Yes, I think this is a must read. I think it is. And I had never heard of her, and I'm so grateful. So I checked out 2 of her books, Lisa, and left one of them at the library so somebody else can get that one. I didn't want to be greedy. So Native Son. Native Son, if you've been following this channel, how many times have I read Native Son? 3 times, and I bought that book several times. And I recently, actually this year, I gave Black Boy, because I had several copies of Black Boy. I have the 60 year, edition, like some sort of, celebratory edition, which has Black Boy and American Hunger all in one. So I have American Hunger. I got that off of thriftbooks.com, and it's this old hardcover book. So I have that, and so when I went to read it, I'm thinking, I already read this. It's in Black Boy. So if you have Black Boy, and you check out American Hunger and you read the first part of American Hunger and it's already in your Black Boy, then it's just 2 books in one. And I love that book. And The Outsider, which was my daughter's copy. And so I gave her that book back. And so I have to buy The Outsider. The Outsider is, like, I read and know Native Son, and I really love that book, and how hardcore that, like, the first time I read it, I was like, why? I didn't get this. And that's where I was at the time. And that's how it was when I talked to so many young men that I give that book to. Like, what? Like, why did it have to go down like that? That kind of that it gives you. And so when I read The Outsider, after reading Black Boy, woo, mind blown. And then, of course, Black Power, when he goes over to Africa, and the independence for Ghana, and he learns about, how do they basically do it, and how they become independent, and what their thought process was, and, how do they handle it politically wise, just everything. And just him being over there telling us this, and I love nonfiction, and I just love Richard Wright. But when you finish Native Son, if you have not read Black Boy, please do. Toddy loves it, and I love it, and so we're a pretty good judge of character. Anyway, and then after you read Black Boy, which is nonfiction, the fiction, The Outsider, I can't say it enough. That book. Anyway, I love it. And KT says, I agree. Let me go back up. Liking books, me too, K. After Black Boy, I don't know why I haven't read it yet. So do I. That's my Richard Wright read. Black Boy was amazing. Yes. Oh my gosh. We can talk about Richard Wright all night. But yeah, and so, of course, since we're talking about Richard Wright and Mr. Ta-Nehisi Coates, good student, right? Good student. That's all I'm going to say. Good student. Good student. Yep. The grasshopper and the teacher. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So anyway, this is Elizabeth Nunez. Oh, and so let me go real quickly for the books that I got from the library. I also picked up this, and it's 10:03, so I need to wrap this up real quick. So let me go back to so I can see what you guys are seeing. So I have to travel back and forth on the internet. The Autobiography of an Ex-Colored Man by James Weldon Johnson. And then that picture, excuse me, on the back right there. And so, of course, we all know this name, right? First published anonymously in 1912. Yeah. This resolutely unsentimental novel gave many white readers their first glimpse of the double standard and double consciousness that ruled the lives of Black people in modern America. Republished in 1927 at the height of the Harlem Renaissance. We're talking about Harlem Renaissance, right? With an introduction by Carl Van Vechten, the Autobiography of an Ex-Colored Man became a groundbreaking document of Afro-American culture. The first person It's the first person novel ever written by a Black. It became an eloquent motto for later novelists ranging from Zora Neale Hurston to Richard Wright and Ralph Ellison. So people we have all talked about so much and love and adore. And so I thought this would be a good recommendation for next year's The Blackout, but I got it and I'm going to read it this year. If you have read this, let me know. If you enjoyed it, let me know. I think it's going to be awesome. And it's really big type. So, yeah, the old lady's getting some big typed books. I don't know what's going on. Maybe my library's getting a wind that not all of us can see good. This, I have this sitting up here for a reason. Let me hide my address there. But this is Mary J. Blige, obviously on the cover of Essence. You guys know I love my Essence magazine. I'm still subscribed since I was a little young girl. And Susan L. Taylor was the editor, which I have her book and I talked about and read a little bit from. But I'm only going to the book section, and the reason being is because this is Booktube Live. And we have Audre Lorde on here, and I have one Audre Lorde book, Sister Outsider. And so this, and I love him, this guy that does the books, and it's Patrick's Picks. If you do not have Essence or have not subscribed, and no, they're not paying me nothing, I don't get paid nothing. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers. So you know this is just what I love, okay? Essence, book suggestions. His name is Patrick Henry Bass. If you have not heard of him, look him up. He's a very bookish man, and he talks about these 5 fearless women and how they speak their mind from dealing with race to growing your money. And Audre Lorde, the book cover, I'm telling you, it's very artsy. It's like a painting, obviously, and it's just beautiful. And I want it. It's A Burst of Light and Other Essays. So it says you don't read Audre Lorde, you feel her. And that's all I'm going to read from that. It's a brand new book, $22.95, A Burst of Life by IXIA Press, IXA or Lixa Press. And another notable on here, A Moonless, Starless Sky, Ordinary Women and Men Fighting Extremism in Africa. And it's by Alexis Okiowo. And that's the book right here, if you guys can see my little, from the magazine. That's it. But there's loads of them on here, and I could talk about all of them, but we don't have time. So I just wanted to show you guys that would be a good one for next year, Audre Lorde. Since I only have one of her books, now to find the essays, I'm like, yay, I can get that one too for next year. And some more recommendations, and this is just some things I got at the library. Telling you, this hair is in the way of my glasses. But this is Black Deutschland by Daryl Pickney. Yeah. And it's beautiful. I'm sorry. That's a pretty cover. Anyway, and I got 2 of his. And this is the one I'm going to read first. High Cotton. If you have heard of this, please let me know. But I want to probably purchase these, but since they're free from the library and I already got them, and he's got several other books, and since I can't read everything under the sun next year, I'm gonna, since I already got these and got a couple more months left of this year, I really want to read these and Evelyn Nunes. Basically, the books that I've checked out, I want to read before the end of this year. And unfortunately, the books that I own, unfortunately, and fortunately, I own them, so I don't have to give them back. My TBR is busted for the 4th quarter of this month. No Donna Tartt, although I thought I could read her in December, but then I went to the library today. Thanks, Kay. Donna Tartt thanks you. And the Luminaries thanks you. Seriously. I'm so happy though, because I know you just get these books and they're free. Okay. And because he's someone that I had not heard of, haven't read him, and he has the other books, then I'm going to check him out next year and possibly purchase some of his books. And so I'm going to read this one first though, High Cotton. So those are the 2 I got from him from the library. And oh, if you were not here last week, I got these from the library. Checkouts from Michael Eric Dyson. I was going to call him Eric Dyson. And then this one here from Wally Lamb. And it's a nonfiction Wally Lamb, although he writes mostly fiction. This is his only nonfiction book that I know of. And it's Wally Lamb. I couldn't keep it to myself. And the Women of York Correctional Institution. Since this is not Fiction November, I kind of wanted to show you guys these 2. Those were hauled from the library last week. And then today, I have 2 of her books. And Bernice McFadden said, you are lucky you got 2 of her books. And I'm thinking, Bernice McFadden said I was lucky having 2 books. This woman must be good. So it's Kalisha Buchanan, and it's called Solemn. And it's really pretty cover too. And the 2 books that I have of hers, I got them on my list to read next year for the Blackout. And this is another one. So I think I might want to delve into that one this year. And then Dominique did such an amazing review on this. I had no choice but to get it. Delicious Foods. And when I was looking at this is by James Hannaham. He is the author of the novel God Says So, which was honored by the American Library Association. He holds an MFA from the Michener Center for Writers at the University of Texas at Austin, and lives in Brooklyn, which he teaches creative writing at Pratt Institute. And I only wanted to read that because I'm in Texas and I went to Austin last weekend. That's all. If you've read this, let me know. But Dominique, she did an amazing review on it. She loved it. And then this is the other Harlem Renaissance books that I got. Okay. And Henry Louis Gates says, this brilliant anthology is a major contribution to our understanding of the Harlem Renaissance. And it's 4 novels from the 1930s. And you know my man is in here, Langston Hughes. He's got to be. He's just got to. And I'm sure he's in here. I'm just so sure of it. Not Without Laughter, Langston Hughes. Black No More by George S. Schuler. The Conjure Man Dies by Rudolph Fisher. Black Thunder by Arna Bontemps. And that's the second one. Yay! Or the first one. Because, yeah, this is the first one, 1930s, because the other one that Claude McKay is in is from the 1940s. Harlem Renaissance books. So these are good checkouts from your library. And that's all I got for you. I hope that you enjoy talking about Caribbean authors. There's some new names. Elizabeth Nunez, I'm diving into her. The others, and the young, I'm going to say young man. I'm, you know what? I need to stop thinking I'm older than everybody and their mama. But the man that I found out about that passed away this March, rest in peace to him. And this was from, again, theculturetrip.com, where you'll find 6 Caribbean writers that you should know. And Edgewood Dondicat is one of the first ones on the list. And by way of so many other Caribbean authors. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys, as usual. Time to Read says, I only have one Audre Lorde book too. I should read it and then get more. Me and you both. So now that one was brought to my attention by Essence, and thank you, Stephanie, for being here. I'm so glad you showed up. So nice to have you. Anyway, I shouldn't sing. I shouldn't do any of that. Anyway, but you know how it is. We do what we want. Sorry, have you read My Laud by Langston? Or who? Sorry, I always miss you. No problem. I'm so glad you're here. And what was I going to say to you about your cat? I was looking at a picture the other day, and you were talking about your cat. And I had showed a book that I got from the Austin Book Festival from last Saturday. And it had a cat on it. And I thought about you. And I was like, oh, this cat is so ugly. It's over there. And I don't want to get up, because this will go forever if I keep talking. If I can't reach it, something's gonna fall. I don't know. Okay. Whew. This is all for you, Stephanie. This is the book I got. We Are Never Meeting in Real Life. And that cat, I was like, for cat lovers, I can't look at that cat too much. But anyway, it's supposed to be really good, and it's by Samantha Irby. And I got this at the Texas Book Festival, which was in Austin last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and I am wanting to go every year. It's closer than the one in Houston, but I keep getting sick. And yeah, I got a big old bruise on my arm from being sick just recently, because the hospital don't know how to draw blood from my little tiny veins. But anyway, that's all another story and another day. Anyway, or maybe not at all. There you go, Stephanie. Ooh! Ooh! But yeah, I'm gonna have to put a post-it note on top of that cat when I read that book, because I can't be just looking at that. The cats scare me. They just do. Anyway, that is hilarious. I hope it is I hope it is good, and that we get to meet in real life someday. I hope so too. She's laughing at me. I'm sorry, I'm spitting all over the place. But yeah, I don't know. They used to follow me, and I don't know. It's just like weird. And she said, thanks for making my TBR so much bigger. You're very welcome, liking books. You're very welcome, hon. But I'm telling you, everybody makes my TBR. Oh, I love you, Denise. I love you too, Stephanie. And I am telling you, I thought, oh, wait a minute. I wanted to go to My Laud. And I only have one Audre Lorde book. Let me catch up. Let me catch up. Who is My Laud by? Is that by Langston? Because isn't there a book called, oh, now you got me wondering. And I'm in the green light again. Let me go to Goodreads. See, booktubers shouldn't talk to booktubers, and especially live, because we don't ever do 1 hour. We don't ever do 1 hour. And I got some painting to do. Oh, and I'm going to finish The Fisherman tonight. That's what I didn't tell you, that I was listening to Stephanie and Lisa, because I was doing a wrap up for Lisa. And hold on. Oh, see, it's not coming up. Is it My Laud today? Why am I thinking My Laud today? I'm just putting in My Laud. I don't know. Anyway, let me scroll down, see if you answered me. Or scroll back up. Okay, I'm going to find it. But anyway, these books are some good suggestions, and I can't wait to get into Miss Elizabeth. There we go. I found Law Today by Wright. Ah! Do I have that? I have 8 Men. I have Native Son, of course. I have The Long Dream by Richard Wright, which I haven't read. Uncle Tom's Cabin. I have, of course, Black Boy. I have Black Power. And there's 3. And I got it from thriftbooks.com. It's Black Power and 2 others. And if my son would give me my book back. Gosh. Anyway, and The Outsider and all that good stuff. So, Rite of Passage by Richard Wright I have. I'm looking over at my bookshelves, as y'all can see, because Richard Wright is right there. So I got Rite of Passage, American Hunger, Black Boy. The Outsider was my daughter's. 8 Men, Native Son, The Long Dream, Uncle Tom's Cabin, and there's something else. It's James Baldwin. Okay, I'm going to need my books back from my son. That's what I'm going to need. By Laud. My Laud is Richard Wright. Is it My Laud? Why did I think it was My Laud today? I don't know. But anyway, I will have to look into that one, because I do not have that one at all. And that'll be a perfect one for me to read next year. And if I can get my books back from my son, to read the other 2 that are in that one big old book with 3 books in it. Oh, wait a minute. I have it on my Kindle. Hold on. Y'all gonna get me in trouble. Get me in trouble for what? I'm grown. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have anybody to answer to. What am I talking about? I just wanted to hit my 1 hour and be out. But no, you're making me want to read other books and look up other stuff. There we go. R-E-G-H-T. There we go. Okay, so let me look it up real quick. On my Kindle, I have Walden by Henry David Thoreau, Rosie's Blues by Travis Stokes, which I will be reading next year. I actually read it this year, and it was really good. Camilla's Roses by Bernice McFadden, Eric Jerome Dickey, and a book of poetry that my art is on the cover by D.C. Murphy, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, A Family Affair by Rashonda Tate Bill. Okay, there it is. Richard Wright's Black Power. Okay, so the 3 books on Black Power, which I read, which is on Richard Wright going to Ghana when Ghana was getting their independence. So Black Power, The Color Curtain, and White Man Listen. So all 3 of those books are in the book called, let me see if it'll give me a big picture. No, it's just going to bring up the book, because this is just a sample. But anyway, if you watch this channel, you've seen the copy of that. And it's this beautiful black man. He looks naked and he's got his fist up. And yeah, that's what it is. So I was supposed to be reading The Color Curtain, and my son never gave me my book back. But that's what it looks like. 3 books in 1. Yeah, my phone is shattered. So sorry. But yeah, I can't wait. And it's introduced by Cornel West, and I read that introduction, and I like he's a wordy somebody, and I really like it. So anyway, we are done for the night, and I appreciate you being here. But the last thing I'm going to do is talk about or read the covers, or the next subject. I'm looking at books covers. So anyway, for October the 27th, she put this out here, but these are Booktube Live ideas from KT. Out of Africa, novels from a female perspective, which Kintu, if you have not read it, it looks like Kintu, Kintu, and by Jennifer Malsum. I'm not looking at it, so I know her first name was Jennifer, and the last name started with an M. So yeah, that would be a good one for you guys to read. All Up in Their Business is the next topic, and it's called A Review of Memoirs and Autobiographies. And then the next topic is Don't Believe the Hype. When books are all talk, but no action. Woo! I got a few of them. I do. And then Manpower is the fourth subject. So we got 4 more weeks of amazing topics. Manpower is the last one. It's a book with strong male lead characters. Yes. Okay, this is going to be awesome. And I can't wait because we're going to have so many book recommendations, and we're all going to be so gray and so old before we could read them all. But I'm enjoying that. Thank you so much, Kay, for that. I really appreciate it. So thanks you guys for being here. And I'm sorry you're just looking at the side of my face because I'm actually just, yeah. We're going to go out with Miss Giselle Robinson, our poet from St. Thomas, a Caribbean poet. Love her. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you as usual, as you know, and hopefully I don't pick up one that starts cussing immediately, and you can hear it like winding up, and I'm gonna see what you guys are saying.
In the spirit of Calypso. So listen, here's the deal. I have this car, and well, I've kind of had her forever. When I was just a little girl, she was just a little girl's car, just a toy, you know what I mean? But for some reason, the big boys always wanted to mess with my toy car, and well, since she was too small, they kind of fucked her up. So now here I am stuck growing up with this fucked up car, and boy, could that be a pain in the ass. Because even if she was broke, I couldn't get rid of her. Eventually, we developed what you could call a love-hate relationship. Because now that I was grown, it was kind of cool when the big boys wanted to come and mess with my car. Even if the shit was broke, they didn't seem to mind. They said my car was some sweet shit, baby.
Okay.
And that was all right. Because some of them girls were fine as hell. And my car loved their asses up under the hood, revving the engines and taking them curves hard, baby.
Okay.
But a few years ago,
that is Miss Giselle. But you know, when you're a stand-up poet, this is pretty much what happens. And I cannot wait for you guys. If you want the CD, because I have a CD that I was going to give away. And the last conversation I had, because she had bought some to my art studio when I owned my art studio. And she told me, just give them away, give them, share them. So I wanted to share one. So if you send me a message here on YouTube, I will check the message. I checked it before, but I didn't get a message. So if you would like the CD, I have one that I'm giving away, and I think I have one of A.J. Houston, which is another one of my favorite poets here. So with all that, you guys, yes, the Caribbean writers, get into them. Show me what your favorites are. If you want to come back and talk to me on the comment section below after this live, it will be recorded, so you can actually just give me a list of your favorite or just one favorite. And that's the night. That is it. I enjoyed you. Thank you so much, Kay. Thank you so much, Miss Kia Dene. Thank you, Jennifer. I mean, not Jennifer. Jennifer Monson. Yes. 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 And the book is right over there. That's the book I read from the library and spent a little bit of coffee on, and they made me buy it. $27. Yeah, but I'll read it again one day. And she's a very interesting lady. And I'm gonna stop talking. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, KT. Thank you, Denise Rader. Thank you to everyone who showed up and are in the comments and talking to one another. And I appreciate you as usual. Bye, Kia Danae. Thank you, hon. Yes. Bye, Freckled Bibliophile. Yay. Bye. Alrighty. Okay. And that is a night. Thank you. And we'll see you guys next time. And we have the topics already. Hopefully you guys were listening. And if not, you can watch the whole darn show all over again or just fast forward to the end when I talk about the next 4 weeks of subjects. Join me tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be having a laid-back Sunday chat. And hopefully I will be doing a mini review on The Fisherman and also The Black Count, because I will be done with them. I only have about 3 CDs of The Black Count. I think it's 11, and I'm already on 7. And then The Fisherman, I only have about a little bit less because it's not as long as The Black Count. And I'm going to pop that sucker in there right now and finish some art and listen to my books and talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Stop streaming, girl. Stop. Yes, I want to stop streaming. It always asks me that question.